Go.
Cheers, everyone. Welcome to the Texas Toast Podcast. I'm Miss Helen, your host. And of course, here at the podcast, we toast the best from Texas. And we're going to toast a little bit of East Texas today with Gary Patrick. Hello, Gary. Welcome to the podcast.
Hey, thanks so much for having me.
Well, I'm excited to have you. You currently have a radio release out to Texas Country Radio called Rivers and Creeks, and I picked up on it right away when it was released.
All right.
We highlighted it on Texas on Tap for the radio releases, and it's just such a great song. And we're going to talk about your album, another release, but let's talk about you. It's so interesting all the things you've done in music, but how music has been intertwined through your family in in your entire life. I like the description in your bio as the hymns coming from your mom and the storytelling coming from Waylon and Willie, then a little rock mixed in there. So yeah,
Yeah.
you did have East Texas beginnings.
Yes, ma'am.
What part of East Texas were you raised in?
Wood County. I was born in Tyler, and
Okay.
then the family, my mother's side is from Jacksonville, that area,
Yes, yes.
and all of my siblings they're a little older than me, which had a profound effect on me because they were almost like second parents, in a way.
Yes, yes.
They graduated from a school in Tyler called Robert E. Lee.
Hmm.
It's since been renamed because they don't want to call it Robert E. Lee again. But I grew up in a very small community in Wood County, and I went to a little school called Alba Golden. There were two towns, Alba and Golden, and school right in the middle.
Oh, that is so cool. Nothing like our small towns. I grew up in a small town too, west of Houston. But so then your family, there was a move to California. You entered college to study aeronautical engineering, I believe. But then it
Yeah,
was like, no, I think I'm going to do this music thing.
yeah. Well, I mean, music. I mean, I don't know if I can't remember if I put this in the bio, but the thing is I feel like music chose me. I was kind of helpless
Absolutely.
to the. I
That's
was
true.
something like music has a very profound effect on people, and so I was going to do it regardless. I mean, maybe had somebody really told me maybe the financial struggles I would incur throughout my life, or the pitfalls of coming in at 3 and 4 in the morning for 30 years plus, I don't know if that would have had an effect on me. I just had to do it. I have to do this. I love it so
Yes.
much.
Yes. I can tell by listening to your music and then just reading and doing my research that it's in your blood, it's in your veins. And so you had some interesting, I mean, amazing opportunities. You've done some amazing things like with the Phillips sisters and then your whole thing in Las Vegas. Let's talk a little bit about how that worked into your career.
Sure, sure, sure. I was a young man, just really working on my craft. That's what I do every day of my life is I get to work on my craft of communicating with people. So I was playing in bars in Southern California at the time. That's Southern California, meaning Orange County. That's south of Los Angeles, north of San Diego. And up and down the coast it was an endless opportunity to work on songwriting, singing, guitar playing, working with a crowd. And there was a drummer in my band that was well connected in Los Angeles. And he said, Gary, somebody's going to call you because I recommended you for a gig. I got a phone call from a man named Cliff Magnus. Cliff is a Grammy award winning producer. It has, if you just wiki Google his name, and he's produced everyone. So I get a phone call from Cliff Magnus, and I thought they were playing a joke on me, you know. But he said, "Hey Gary, I've got the Wilson sisters, Brian Wilson's daughters, had just released an album, and I'm looking for somebody to help them with a radio tour of the United States and to do some TV spots." And so I went to Santa Monica and I auditioned, and I walked in the room and there was, Brian Wilson's daughters, who you had seen Wilson Phillips flooded. It was a huge album, you
Oh
know,
my gosh. Do you know how many times I played their music? I still go back to it. Like that was the day. I mean, their harmonies, that was amazing.
right. And it was a time in music that it was very different, right? You still had legacy artists on MTV, and then you
That's
had
true.
it was a radical change in music. But in the middle of it was that album. and it made you feel good every time you
Oh,
heard
it did.
songs,
Oh,
right?
it did. Oh, it did so much. Yes, still does to this day.
Yeah. So I mean, so that was an opportunity that came. I mean, that was super quick. You know, we got to do some. I did the Rosie O'Donnell show in New York City, and the Home and Family show in Los Angeles, and then we flew all over the country to do radio tours. That's what I do in Texas. I'll drive around to that state.
Yeah.
It was like flying on an airplane. And what I have a quick story about that is when I released Rivers and Creeks. Uh, I released it across several platforms. I released it on Americana radio as well as Texas Red Dirt. And I received a phone call from a man named Matt Silver. And Matt Silver says, "Hey, Gary, I'm a radio promoter in Detroit." I'm like, "Detroit?" He goes, "Yeah. What's this with you playing with the Wilson sisters?" I go, "Well, I
Oh,
told him the story." And he goes, "Gary, I picked you up from the airport in 1997.
wow.
When
Small
you,
world.
and I'm like, oh my, he goes, "Yeah, you went to Cincinnati the next day." And I went, "Yeah." He worked for Mercury Records back then. So I'm sorry I go off on a tangent, but
No,
the
I love it. I love hearing this. This is what it's about. This is exactly what the podcast is about. So
yeah,
yeah, that's something else.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So that was a hot minute. Um, I'd always I'd always connect surrounded myself with musicians that were really, really good. I was really fortunate. I was always being mentored by great people. We're always
Hmm.
standing on the shoulders of giants anyway, I think, in life. You got to seize that opportunity to be around greatness, and I had a great band. We were to make money while you're trying to save money to record albums. I played gigs and I still do, and I had
Hmm.
a great band in the Los Angeles area, and we got an audition for the MGM Mirage Company uh,
Right.
in Las Vegas. And so that was pretty amazing. That was 10 years of my life. That was 3 years at the Mirage. That was roughly 10 years. And then I went to the
Hmm.
Bellagio. And those are rarely will a musician get a yearly contract, you know,
Hmm.
and that was everybody in the country wanted those gigs. But I have to tell you, it was an education I couldn't have paid for. It was a
I'm
college.
sure.
They don't make a college for that kind of stuff. Like real world experience, 5 nights a week for 10 years in a row. You know,
Yeah, yeah. And that's the thing I thought about when I saw that was like the time every day playing music and how much you can develop and improve and learn something each and every time you play a show.
right? Right. And I mean, life's about relationships. When we're young bucks, we got blinders on and we're thinking, oh, it's only about this, but no, it's about everything. So that helped me learn to really work with others, and to be a good leader. Be a good human being.
True.
Not only being a great singer, guitar player, but also everyone in my band, we were all creative. So I had to be okay with some folks recording an album and taking time off and promoting that, and bringing in a substitute. I had to learn that really early on. You know,
Right. Good stuff there. So then it looks like you took a little tour over to Nashville after that, kind of did a few things there.
I did. What I haven't spoke about is I've always been an Americana writer,
Hmm.
and that fits right smack dab in the middle of Texas country. I believe Texas
Oh,
country
yes.
that it embraces Americana music.
Hmm.
And my first album was recorded and released in 1995. And I was a mediocre at best writer at the time. It really with no direction other than, hey, I need to get this out. So you mentioned at the end of Las Vegas, that was 2000. I had released my second album in 2005 or six. And things in Vegas were going kind of off the rails. That's when the housing bubble burst. And the country really had a spiral financially.
True. Hmm.
So about 2007, the city shut down. All contracts were null and void. And I was burnt out. And so I came home to Texas for a few months to recoup. And I decided this is where I shift. in my career. I moved to Nashville for a couple of years,
Hmm.
not to hop on a tour bus and be a guitar player supporting a role. I went to study. I wanted to be a great songwriter. I wanted to
Hmm.
work on that. Right before I left Vegas, I met one of the most inspirational humans in my lifetime, and his name is Ken Orso. And Ken
Hmm.
and I have written together one, two, three, four. Uh, we're working on our fifth album together right now.
I saw that. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So that's what brought me to Nashville and making a, after a couple of years, I mean, I was getting older. I mean, look at my hair,
We're
yeah,
all getting older.
we're all getting older. And Nashville at the time was changing too, 2010, 2011.
Really changes. Yes,
You know what
yes.
I mean? I mean, we go through shifts in music, and I felt, hey, I think I stand a better chance at self-promoting myself in Texas. So I came
Hmm.
home and, I came home and now I'm learning how to promote myself. I have the most backwards set of experiences with my career. I don't know if I could teach this to anybody, this curriculum that I've gone through.
Well, I just like all the paths and the roads that you've went down and experienced, and then now you're back home in Texas. And now tell me, okay, so one of our favorite people here on the podcast, absolutely love Chad Malden. So tell me how you and Chad met up.
Oh my gosh. Chad is one of my dear. I love Chad so much.
We do too.
He is a true brother. Uh, that's my band was playing a gig in Kilgore,
Hmm.
Texas, at the back porch, and we were setting up and we were doing a sound check, and Chad just walked up, as you know how Chad is. He's
Oh
just,
yes, I love him.
and he goes, hey man, I'm a producer in the area, and I would really like to talk to you about maybe recording. And at that time, I was ready to record a new album.
Hmm.
I had when I was in Nashville, I did several songwriter sessions, recording sessions, and what those are is I had access to the A-list session players. Early in the morning, they would do one or two sessions at home studios for songwriters, where you would go in and in 2 hours they would three or four songs would just come out like that. Then they would go to Music Row and record for Little Big Town, or
Right.
Gary Underwood or something like that. So I had come back to Texas with, I don't know, maybe a dozen, what I felt were a dozen great songs, but they were in demo form. They weren't ready. They weren't
Hmm.
album quality. So I
Hmm.
played for Chad, and my gosh, had I known that day I was going to meet a best friend, you know,
Oh.
you know what I mean? So Chad and I are really dear friends, and he is working on my fifth album with me right now.
Have you ever wondered how artists like Treaty Oak Revival, Red Clay Strays, and Aaron Watson maintain the high quality and high demand for their merchandise? CH Lone Star Promo is the answer. Created in Texas to serve Texas artists, and they're currently offering 15% off on all merch orders from musicians. Visit chlonestarpromo.com to get started and tell them Texas Toast sent you.
I was reading the other day that it takes at least $1 million to break an artist. That's a ton of change, and it can feel overwhelming. But with social media leveling the playing field, you just need an effective strategy to release your music. Check out Release Rocket to ensure your single does not die after release day. You've already put time, effort, and tons of money into writing and recording your album. Let the guys at Release Rocket keep your new release alive.
Okay, I just have a note here because I went through and listened to a lot of music, and I can't wait to get to the music part. But 2018, you had an album, No Standing Waves. Was Chad a part of that one?
Yeah, that's
That's
Chad.
what,
That was it. That
yes.
was
Okay. That's what I picked up on. Yeah, was really good. Well, let's do talk about your music and your style, and I like how you kind of mix it up a little bit. So currently you have an album out, High to Ride,
yeah.
and you've got a cover of Missing You on there. The title track is really good. I want to talk about that one and kind of the backstory on it.
Sure, sure. Fire away.
Okay, High to Ride. Tell me about how that came about.
High to ride. Well, it's even though there is a reference to a motorcycle in the song, it's not really about getting high and riding. It's when we all need a new perspective. We all get stuck. and we all get depressed, and that's the cathartic thing about music is that translates. So when you need a new perspective, or maybe if it's a new spiritual take on life, you need a new high to ride. That's where that came from, you know.
Right, well done. And the one that I really liked was Nobody Else But You. Great meeting in that one.
Thank you.
You just never, I really enjoyed that one.
Thank you. It's a fun one. It's very fun.
Hmm. Yes. And
Yeah.
so, and then, yeah, also let's talk about your radio release. Most importantly, currently out, Rivers and Creeks.
Sure. Rivers and creeks. That's my message to all the young bucks in the world, to just be a little sweeter, just to talk a little softer.
Right. And now going back in your library a little bit, maybe your signature song or something. But I'm a saltwater girl. I live on the coast and I loved Yucatan. I played it and I was like, oh my God, this is the best. I love Yucatan. So tell me the history on that song, because I know it kind of goes back a while, but that's what I
Well,
do.
that's funny. That went back to the album prior. Uh, and so yeah, that was off my EP, This World.
Uh-huh.
So Yucatan, Ken Orso, the gentleman that I write music with,
Mhm.
he lives in Ashland, Oregon, by the way. Like, how do we do that? Well, we don't even Skype. We just put in earbuds and we
Nice.
use our hearts and we use our ears. You know what I mean? So Ken called me up and he goes, Gary, you can tan in the Yucatan. And I went, what?
Oh, it's
He goes, just hang in there with me. It's corny, but let's write a song. And so we did. And it's funny. It's just hysterical. And if you can't, get down to the Yucatan Peninsula, we'll go down to your local Lake Hawkins and go to the beach there. But
yeah. Well, that was definitely a Miss Helen Wheelhouse song right there. So it's been added to my library. And then I just, yeah. And I had the opportunity to listen to Montana Moon, which is something new you'll have coming out.
Barry
Yes,
sent
I
that to
did.
you. My
Yes, I
publicist
did.
took it.
Yes.
That rascal.
Loved it. Loved it.
I'm so glad you like it.
Yeah.
It's in my heart of hearts. I think it's one of my favorite songs I've written. You know, Montana Moon. It's about a rambler. And I think that as we're all getting older and experiencing more chapters in our lives, we have the essence of sweetness and grace. We've experienced a little bit more, but there's always a yearning. We're always wondering, even when we're pulling in our oars, we're always wondering, was there a distant shore that I'm still going for? You know what I mean? And it's a song of hope and innocence. If there's anything I can say that I love about the writing is it's my opportunity to uh, inject a little innocence into a world that's not so innocent anymore. If that
Mhm.
makes sense to you, you know.
Yes, it makes sense. And and you have a lot of songs about, of course, rivers and creeks, and then you have the one song, Hurricane. You have a lot of songs implying water and nature, which is what I picked up on and I really liked.
Yeah. Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Yeah. Oh, those are the powerful movers.
Yes, so true. So I know that I was looking at your schedule. You have a loaded schedule, but I want to talk about the showcase and the performance you'll have at the Josie Music Awards, which I always follow those each year. I was made aware of those probably about 3 years ago, and I know a lot of our Texas artists they become finalists and nominated for different categories. So you're going to be there. You've got a big showcase going on.
I sure do. It's a once in a lifetime opportunity. And I tell you, in my life, I've never been a contest guy. And
Mhm.
it just hasn't. I see people that have had the most wonderful opportunities out of contest or they're being honored. But I've just always been like, no, I'll put my head down and do the work and
That's right.
want to be good. I never wanted to be famous. I just wanted to be good. That's maybe I should have thought the other way around when I was younger. But I met Barry Rogers, my publicist, a year ago, and he goes, "No, Gary, let me do my job. You need to know people that you can't get to on your own. Let me help you." So he introduced me to the Josie Music Awards, Tina Marie and Josie. And so to be recognized, I'm blown away. I mean, there's 75,000 inquiries. and I'm one of 12 that get recognized as possible artist of the year in Americana category. What? I'm like, I mean, I don't even have to go to Nashville. I'm like, I'm blown away. So,
Uh-huh.
but they've asked me to play, they've asked my band to play at the CMA Hall of Fame Theater the night before the award show. And so we get to play 15 or 20 minutes. And then the next night we go to the Grand Ole Opry House for the ceremony.
Yes.
You know what means the world to me, Helen, more than anything is my parents get to go. And they, my family and my parents have helped cultivate this art in me my whole life. From when, I mean, that's why I did this. It's why I went from aeronautical engineering to doing what I do. Possibly one of those hardest struggling careers that you could ever manifest, you know. But my parents are alive at 85, and we're all going to get to take them there. They get to see that.
That's so awesome. I just love that. Love that story. That'll just make everything complete for you.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
Yes. Yeah. So, and then talking about you've got I know you're up, yeah, play a lot in Tyler, you're playing a lot in East Texas. And so you're just busy, busy.
Well, I'm busy, busy, and just like every other artist in Texas, we're trying to get out of the 100-mile orbit, which is it's a tough deal. You lift a rock, and there's 100 bands, and there's 100 artists, and there's so many good artists.
There is.
You know what I mean? And that's what I love about it. And maybe after the Josie Music Awards, maybe we'll get out of the state of Texas a little bit, and get to meet other people. That's
Yeah.
my idea, is just to meet one organic fan at a time. That's the meaningful thing to me. Uh, so.
So up and coming, working on a new music, obviously with Montana Moon. So are you currently working on another album?
Oh, absolutely. Right now.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm songwriting right now.
You're just going nonstop, being consistent. That's what you do.
See what sometimes the burnout thing is real, but because it's never ending, I wish I could say, okay, well, I wish I could block schedule my day every day. My wife is a genius at that. Being creative in block scheduling is difficult, or I haven't harnessed it yet, but yeah, being creative, you just kind of you go all in at everything you do. And then sometimes my pop off valve goes, and then I got to take 3
Yes.
days off. Does that make sense?
It makes total sense. I'm right at the pop off right now. Like it totally makes sense because I'm doing so many different things right now. Before it was just radio. When I say just radio, that was 7 days a week, nonstop, 12-hour days. You just go, go, go. But now I'm doing so many other things, and it's like, yeah, vacation's right around the corner for me, but that's so much for me. But I totally get what you're saying. And I think a lot of people, and especially musicians that listen to the podcast, they're listening to this, and people in the industry, yeah, I totally get it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just, I mean, I just think we have to always find our tribe and stay in,
Oh, absolutely.
that's,
Hmm.
that's not a negative statement about any one thing or the other. It's just you find where you fit. And because when you color outside those lines, your energy is just diminished. And I just think that's what we do in life anyway. I remember being a kid, and I was always watching all the older people in my family. I had a huge family. I was very fortunate to have generations older than me, and I got to watch them. And you know what? They were quiet. They said less and less, but it meant more and more. Does that make sense? And when
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
now we're getting older, and we're like, well, yeah, well, that's why you just reserve that energy for other things.
That's so true. That is so true. Well, this has just been, I can't wait to meet you in person. I don't know by any chance, are you going to be coming to the Texas Country Music Awards at Billy Bob's?
Absolutely.
Yes, you're going to be there. Oh, gosh, we'll get to meet you.
I'm looking,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, looking so forward to meeting you. This has been a delight. Thank you so much for
I
taking the time.
know, I know. Yes. So we'll continue our discussion about that. And yes, we have to meet up. So yeah, okay. Well, I guess, is there anything else that we need to cover that maybe I haven't?
I don't know if people want to see me.
Oh
My
yeah.
website is Gary Patrick dot love, LOVE. It's not a dating website. I'm, I'm not going to
Not by
contact
any
you.
means. Not by any means. I've been on the website. It's not a dating website.
No, no, I accidentally let .com expire, and somebody wants $10,000 for it so they can have it, and I'll be .love. And on,
That's
isn't that funny?
I like that. I'm glad that we brought that up because I did have that on. It's, yeah, I
Yeah,
kind of like that. It's kind of a message.
yeah, I might be the only .love out there.
Yeah.
Um,
Who needs a .com when you can be .love, right?
come on, I know, right? Which
Right.
that encapsulates the way I feel about the world.
Mhm.
I love genuinely. So, and Gary, and if you're looking for me on social media, I'm Gary Patrick Music on
Got it.
Instagram and Facebook.
Okay. Well, we'll be keeping up with things and staying in touch. And it's just been so much fun. Of course, Rivers and Creeks Out to Texas Radio will be following along with that one, going up the charts. And so thank you so much, Gary Patrick, for coming on the podcast.
Absolutely not. My new song Montana Moon releases on all platforms on the 18th,
Okay.
and then the following week it releases terrestrially. FM,
Oh,
big word.
gotcha.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
and then
All
the
right.
following week I go to Nashville, and so that was a reason for the staggering.
That's cool. That's cool. Okay. Well, you're going to keep us busy keeping up with you, Gary.
Much love to you, Helen. Thanks so much. You guys have a wonderful afternoon.
You too. Thanks so much.